Okay, so welcome to the Cyber-Footdy Ultimate podcast for Real Madrid fans. We have a section of the podcast called the Madridistas Nigeria. For Real Madrid fans, if you're a football fanatic, this is the right place for you to have discussions about the passionate support that we have for Real Madrid, where we bring you a lot of in-depth and entertaining discussions about the latest matches, player performances, tactics, transfers, and everything related to our beloved club, from Champions League triumphs that we've had in the past to domestic clashes, as we analyze and provide you unique insights to the beautiful game from our own personal perspectives. Just so tune in to hear our lively debates and match predictions and special interviews with our panel, in-house panel, and also guests that we'll be having in the future. So a quick introduction to the panel today. Uh, I'm your host, Nasser. Also, we have Farid, or Mr. G or Mr. FG. He's our in-house pessimist. We have Abbasan, our Vini enthusiast. And now we have
Very
our
much so.
own Carlos supporter number one. Lord. So we'll just dive into it, please. Firstly, today's derby versus Atleti. I think I will start with Abba for his views on the lineup and formation. Likelihood. Please go ahead. Abba,
Yeah.
we want to hear your view on the lineup and formation that we have for today's derby.
Well, funny enough, I haven't even come across the lineup of formation for today. I don't know if it has been released yet, but
We have a likely formation.
we have a likely lineup. And
We posted yesterday, yes.
yes, I saw it on the group. So what I think about it is that really we've always complained about two things, or one thing rather. It's a fundamental issue that Madridistas have been complaining about for the longest time, ever since our embarrassing defeats to Barcelona. And what is it? We have been advocating for Carlo to not pair Chouameni and Vasquez in the same backline. We're not saying they cannot play in the same lineup. If you're going to play Chouameni in the midfield, play someone that is a natural central defender. So who can cover for Vasquez when he goes on his runs or when he's easily beaten as he usually is. So what we're saying is if you're going to play Chouameni in defense, then you have to sacrifice Valverde from the midfield and play him at right back. If you're going to play Lucas Vazquez at right back, then do not play Chouameni as the right centre back. Why? Because both of them are clearly, we know that they're not natural defenders. And then we're struggling. We are barely sort of making our structure work right now. We're trying to try out Ceballos, even though he's inconsistent, and we've had the issue of him and Vinny with his passing, holding on to the ball, and all of those things. That is topic for another day. But then, regardless of the situation, with us trying to figure out what our best structure is, I feel like pairing Chouameni with Vasquez on the right side of defense is suicidal.
Defensive choices that we have, even the injuries. What would you change?
Sorry?
From your own perspective, what would you change from the lineup that we think is going to start? Apart from the obvious that Abbas mentioned, the Chouameni and Vasquez area.
I think I would change Rodrigo out of the lineup, because I feel like when we're playing Vini, Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Bellingham, it's almost like we're playing for four attackers. So it means our midfield is just down to two men. So and we're playing a defensive line that has never played together in the first place. So you need a midfield that can sustain and cover for them. So I think that's the one thing I would change.
But what about for this specific? We're still on the lineup issue. For this specific match, if you were in Carlos' shoes, which lineup would you bring up?
I think I am with Aminu on this one. even though Carlo in his pre-match conference yesterday said he does not think that having a good defense is based on the formation that you play, meaning 4 midfielders. So you'd have to sacrifice Rodrigo. He said that it takes the entire team to defend. So meaning Rodrigo and Mbappe and Vini and all of them need to just work together. And yes, it's in theory that's how it is. But with the team, now like we have a lot of players that have reached that superstardom, and they may not likely put in the work willingly without much scolding from the coach, which we know he wouldn't. So I'm with Aminu. I think having an extra midfielder whose sole responsibility is to be in midfield would help us survive Atletico's desire to push. Because let's face it, it's like they desire it more than we do. Judging from Carlos.
I'll just throw the question out there. If there's anybody that wants to input this, my question is: should Carlo be judged based on today's derby match and the results?
Yes.
Don't let Aminu to answer this question. Can we not? Like, I have an objection. Anybody can answer, but Aminu.
Yes, no, but generally, if we put things into perspective, like
generally, if we're being,
should this be like the last nail in the coffin?
Okay, so before I think I saw his record against Atletico Madrid. I think 8 wins, 8 losses, and a few draws. That's in almost 6 years. This is 6th year in Madrid, and I think Zidane, I think give or take, Zidane was in Madrid for 6 years as well, and I think he definitely has a better. I'm not sure. I haven't checked it, but I'm sure he has a better record against Atletico.
Zidane has only lost
records. He definitely has.
Between Zidane only lost 4 games in 24 tries against Atletico and Barcelona combined. He only lost 4 games out of 24.
So I think that answers my question. I think, in my own opinion, you all know, I think he should have been gone long time.
So I need everybody's answer on this. Would that be the last nail in the coffin for Carlo for tonight?
I personally think so, but knowing Florentino, I don't think it will change anything. Even if we lost 5-0 to them, I don't think it will change anything.
Because we have to look at the implications. Number 1, we're at home. Number 2, it's our closest rivals. Number 3, we're losing top spot.
Yeah, true. I agree.
I have your answer. Next person, please.
Okay.
It's direct.
Okay, go on for it.
No, Abba, you can go.
We all have what we want. I think our interests are all aligned here, but we know it's not going to happen. Really. And then mid-season, right now, who would you bring in? Do we think Solari would come in and change things? Yeah, probably. But then, I don't know, would it be for the betterment of the team? Carlo is stubborn. We know that. We have certain things that we want him to do, and he's not going to do them. I just want us to play well. Do you understand? I don't want us to get embarrassed. That is my major priority for today. I do not want us to get embarrassed. Because that is what has happened in every single big game this season. So I don't know if that has answered my question. Yeah.
I think we all know where I stand on Carlo stance. I've always been Carlo out. I'm just waiting for it to happen. I doubt if it will happen before the season ends. But yeah, I don't think Carlo has what it. I just think the team needs a new voice. They need to listen to somebody new. It's not that Carlo is completely bad, but they're not listening to his instructions. So I think we need a new voice in the dressing room.
Or he probably doesn't even give instructions at all. Like you said, Carlo probably has players that he prefers to scold and others that he chooses to pamper for some reason. It depends on your status on the squad. Then he treats some. It's like sort of what do you call it? Carrot and stick approach, but for different people. Do you understand? He yells and shouts at other people, while others he just allows them to do whatever. And that is how I feel. That is, or so it seems to all of us.
Doctor, sorry to cut in. I saw a rumor on social media about the last game that we played against Leganes. Apparently, there was a misunderstanding between Modric and Vinicius. How true is that? Because I didn't watch the entire game, so I didn't really know.
I would pass this question to Farid to confirm. He's our special correspondent on these matters.
I think it was blown out of proportion. It was just a normal spat between teammates. He was just telling him to get into position to defend the set piece. It's normal. It happens on the pitch. It was just blown out of proportion by the media.
Just because it is Vinny, you have not added that part. It's very important, critical factor.
I am not a conspiracy theorist like I'm.
No. It is actually just because it is. We are seeing a lot of things that have happened with other players in the past that nobody blows out of proportion. Like players have arguments on the pitch a lot of times. We've seen Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski. Nobody blows out of proportion. We've seen Messi literally, scold and shout at other players. People have not had between teammates. We've seen a situation where two teammates almost came to blows on the football pitch, and then it did not make past the next 2 days on the headlines. Do you understand? But then I feel like things Vinny does, he's not helping his case, obviously. But then I feel like things get amplified when it's Vinny.
It's true. With Vinny, things are out of proportion, but then, he brought these things upon himself, sadly. So I think with that, let's move to the next. So the next issue I wanted us to discuss is actually the injury crisis that we have. But majorly, please, what is wrong with Alaba, the glass guy? What is it? Is it time to just release him? Because we can't continue like this, waiting and paying you for almost more than a year just to celebrate, and then for you to just go, not even during a match, not even a hard tackle, not even, only God knows what happened during training for you to go. So, it's a question out there. How do we resolve the injury crisis? Is it our fitness? Are they overworking them? Is Pintus overworking them? Or what is his name again? Or is it that we don't have good diet? Or is it Carlo that is causing the overexertion on certain players? I don't know.
Can I go first?
Yes.
Okay. The injury issue has been a persistent issue. It's not just for Madrid. I think this generation it's alarming, and it's a bit of an irony because we're in an advanced technological phase in our lives. 21st century, you all know technology and whatnot. But it seems people get more injured now than they do back in the days. I remember back in the days, all those Costa Curta days. People don't really get injured that much. You can find people play the entire season without getting injured. But now, even in basketball, apparently, this is a major issue. Even with the technological advancement, you still have people getting injured. But that being said, I feel like people like Ronaldo, people like LeBron James, they still found ways. And I think the key is the players themselves have to take it upon themselves to watch their diet, watch how they eat. I think for last season we spoke about this regarding Carvajal, how he changed his diet, and it helped. So I think players they can't just rely on the physios of the clubs and whatnot. They have to take it upon themselves. And LeBron James spends $1 million every year on his body, on his diet and whatnot. So players have to invest in that. I think that's the only way out.
To your fact, we have the same issue. Like typical example is Hazard, diet issue.
Yeah.
So, any views?
I think it is deeper than that, and it's probably not what we're expecting. Because if we're being honest with ourselves, the former crop of players, the likes of the Ronaldinos, those guys would come from the club directly to the training pitch, and they rarely also got injured. Well, the ones that didn't get injured. So I think they also had their own ways of coping, and guys were smoking up.
We're forgetting a fundamental issue
here. The number
of
matches being played were less than
the number. Exactly. What about the number of games? That is a fundamental issue because right now these players are money making machines for this footballing organizations. You're talking about UEFA and FIFA all trying to milk the most money out of these players. UEFA would organize their own competitions and get money out of it. La Liga, RFEF would take matches to Saudi Arabia mid-season to to get the most out of marketing and general global viewing and all of that. I feel like these the footballing entities, the governing bodies, they're also to blame because they're even the people involved, the players, the coaches, they're complaining about the number of matches that they're having to play. What was the point of having to increase the number of Champions League matches to be played? Because I get it. You're trying to compete with the Super League and all of that, but then was it necessary to already add to the number? How many international breaks do we have a season? Are all of those games necessary? Did you have to create a UEFA Nations League? What did you like? What do you stand to gain from all of that? Of course, money. And then they're using these players to get the most money out of it. So I feel like the number of matches contribute a lot to all of the Ronaldinhos and Costa Cunas did not have to play this much.
The Nations League was created, I think, to solve the issue of redundant friendlies. I think the friendlies that don't make sense, and just to make it into like a competition at least, so that people will be serious. So I think it has its good sides, but I think it has done more harm than good, actually. So
look like the money with the machine.
You guys are missing the most absurd one of all those lot. At least all those competitions that they added, you could make an argument depending on where you're coming from. But the most absurd of them is the FIFA Club World Cup that they played in the summer. I mean, how does that even make sense? How do you justify that? Summer? Come on.
Yeah. More money.
Please.
More money.
It's just too absurd. It's just too absurd.
I know this was going to be controversial if I said it in line, but then also to Messi. The likes of Messi into this. So,
it's I think it's it's crazy. I just don't understand why.
We have a long list of things to do. I think next is if you are to choose between Champions League this season, doing the Champions League, La Liga, or Copa del Rey, which one would it go? Both, or treble, or whatever it is, or one of them at least. Realistically, considering where we are, the squad we have, Carlo, his players, everything that is happening, no signings, nothing for now. Let's start with Farid.
You want me to predict or make a prediction of which one we're going to win, or you want me to wish?
Not yet. We have not reached. There's a section for predictions yet.
Okay. I would take the treble. That's the one that realistically, I would still say the treble. Because why go for the double if you can go for the treble? So we're still alive in all competitions, so I would say the treble. Sorry?
I mean, none.
Okay, realistically, I don't think treble is being realistic for this season. So I would say, personally, my personal opinion, I would want us to win the Champions League because it's the first edition of the new format. So I still want us to put our stamp on the competition. So that's just my take on it.
Abba?
I would prefer the Champions League. Now, I have my reasons. I have my caveats. I do not want Barcelona to win anything this season. That is number one. Honestly.
But do you think
I want. Like, do you know what? Like, really, if you give me a deal right now,
second on the table doesn't mean. I mean, our fixtures were tougher than this.
Yeah, I agree. So I would rather we, just like Aminu said, I would rather we win the Champions League just to stamp, our authority on the first, edition and all of that, with all the drama and everything going around and everything. I would prefer if, yes, we won the Champions League. However, you're leaving Copa del Rey and La Liga for Barcelona too. I don't want that too. So I don't know. I would prefer the treble. Honestly, but Champions League, in terms of priority, I would take Champions League first. I'll take Champions League.
Honestly,
It's far-fetched, I know.
To win the Champions League, but then realistically speaking, I don't think we have attacking wise we have the capacity, but defensively, because for you to win the Champions League, you've seen what we've done. Even though you will have Bale, Ronaldo, and Benzema, but you need the likes of Sergio Ramos, Carvajal to cover you at the back at least. We don't have that. So Champions League, because they're knockout competitions, you need that at least super performances. But for La Liga, I think we can do La Liga, at least Copa del Rey. We have a chance, especially if we draw Real Sociedad in the draw for Copa del Rey, because I don't want to meet Atleti or Barca, honestly, in the semis of Copa del Rey. So I would say realistically, we should be able to win La Liga and Copa del Rey. I think should be straightforward. So our next question on the panel is: do you think Carlo should bench Bellingham because of the system that we play 3 up front plus him 4? Because he's more suited to the 4-4-2. Because if you're playing for 4-3-3, he should at least be benched, or he should accept a more deeper role, which we've seen how it backfired for England during the Euros. It's either that, or the next option is to rest people like Fede Valverde for injury reasons, overload reasons. What do you think about both the rest of Fede and Bellingham's adaptability in the system?
So who goes first?
Anyone can go.
Okay, so I don't think he should bench Bellingham because he offers both in attack and defense, and he's a midfielder. He can control the game, so his advantages outweigh his disadvantages as far as I'm concerned. So I'd rather he takes off one of the attackers and leaves him, or maybe have a conversation with Bellingham, and don't let him move into the attacking positions, all those into the box runs and whatnot, stop him from doing that. Precisely. It's either that or you take one of the, because he's just too good. You just cannot afford to keep a player like that on the bench.
They tried playing him. Sorry? They tried playing him a deeper role in England, but it didn't.
Yes. It didn't work. But I think that English team had a lot of gelling thing. They didn't really have a lot of camaraderie. They didn't really know each other. But we'll see how Tuchel does in England.
Okay.
So that's my take on that. I think, but with regards to Fede, I think Fede obviously needs to rest. He definitely needs to rest, but I don't know. It seems like last game he played as a right back. If he is going to play as a right back, I prefer that over Vasquez. But if he's going to play in the midfield, like you can bring in Modric, you can bring in Brahim, can play in the midfield. Either can play in the midfield, even though they give you a totally different thing, aspects of their games, totally different from what they give you in the midfield. But he definitely needs the rest because we can't afford to have him go out at this stage of the season. So.
Okay, please, we have 10 minutes to finish, so we have to hurry, please, on this matter because we have predictions at the end. Go ahead, Farid.
I don't think you can bench Jude Bellingham or Fede Valverde because they are outrightly the hardest workers of that team. You take them out, and I don't even know how we're going to press and how we're going to, get back on defense and defend transitions. You can't take any of them out. Unfortunately for Fede, he just has to keep doing what he's doing. We can't afford to rest him, especially with the right back situation. I'm with Carlo on that. I would love for him to get more rest, but I think one of the commentators said until hell freezes over.
Exactly.
So
in this, I think Abba is on the move. We'll skip to the predictions and we'll start with him. So we'll start with the predictions for tonight's derby. Lord, go ahead.
With
scores.
Prediction as a Madrid fan or prediction from the heart as a football fan?
We want it to be